Welcome to the show. You watch UAP Truth 33. I'm John. I'm your host. Yes, I'm not in the studio, but I am here with you guys. And one thing I wanted to talk about today was so I don't know if you guys remember, but like last year, summertime, Michael Masters, the Harvard professor, came out. They had that paper about the that UAPs may be piloted by um, what they termed as crypto-terrestrials, and not so much, you know, beings from other planets, but beings that are here, right? And I thought it was an interesting article, and I wanted to go over with you guys, just kind of maybe do a quick read through, and just break it down, see if this is actually possibly a thing, or are they reaching? I don't know. I mean, Harvard, they got Avi Loeb, the Moo Moo, and I don't know if you guys have heard about that new thing, the new um, object, interstellar object that's entered the solar system, and apparently this thing is like flying through our solar system right now. It's going to actually come pretty close to Mars. I don't really know the term of it right off the top of my head, but you'll probably see it right here at the bottom of the screen. And it kind of makes me wonder because this is the third object that they've detected, and it just seems kind of strange that they keep detecting these objects, and it's like kind of coinciding with a lot of the things that they're talking about with 2027 and things that Jeremy Corbell spoke about an object approaching Earth that's going to be, and this is going to be a lie. Is basically what Jeremy Corbell said on his that show that he has with TMZ. I don't know how I feel about that. But I do know how I feel about this subject, this idea that these beings are here with us on this planet and that possibly could be underground. I think it's something that we should look at. So I decided to get a copy of this article, and we're gonna check this out. So please stick with me. It's gonna be a hell of a show. I'll be right back. Peace. So yeah, this is a little article that I was telling you about. Um, And the fact that it's coming from Harvard kind of intrigues me a little bit. Makes me wonder, is this possibly a thing? But aliens living among us, secretly piloting UFOs or hiding underground sounds like science fiction movie script. However, in fact, this is the content of a new article by scientists about the existence of crypto Earth creatures. And the reason why I really wanted to bring this and do an episode about this is because it, it's obvious that these things are anthropomorphic, right? Two arms, two legs, a head, two eyes, two ears, the whole kind of human type of makeup, right? Almost as if they're mammals or something, which I find pretty hard to believe. But contactees and things report contact with these little grays, and there's also talk of these tall blonde ones that look like us and that they walk among us, and this has been a theme. Commander uh, Robert Dean from NATO shape, he read that shape document about, it was a NATO document that was describing contact with non-human entities from uh you know some of them interdimensional, some of them from other planets. The way he described it was a whole, it basically encompassed all those aspects, right? And so this article I found really interesting. Michael Masters, he had a few interviews. They're really interesting. I recommend you guys check those out. But yeah, in this new paper, a team of scientists from the Harvard Human Flourishing Program and Montana Technical University argue that there might be intelligent crypto-terrestrial creatures living on Earth. Hidden from human eyes, they are believed to live underground or in the vicinity of our planet, for example, on the moon. And that brings me back to, the people from NATO who claim that there is actually a base on the backside of the moon, and remote viewers like Ingo Swann, who claimed that he remote viewed a base on the backside of the moon, that there was actually slave labor up there, and that one of the non-human beings actually saw him. I guess in some type of astral form there when he was remote viewing the situation. The study's authors suggest that these intelligent crypto-terrestrial beings may, in fact, be responsible for many unidentified aerial phenomena, typically attributed to intergalactic aliens. Note that the scientists' work has not yet been peer reviewed, so you take it for what it's worth. But I think just the fact that they did this makes you wonder. And what about all that footage of UAPs, UFOs flying into the side of mountains, flying in and out of volcanoes, this types of thing, sorts of thing, right? So I find it interesting, right? And the scientists also believe that crypto terrestrial beings could potentially be the UFO pilots. They are believed to represent the remnants of an ancient, advanced human civilization that was largely destroyed long ago, such as by a flood, but has continued to exist as remnants, kind of like a breakaway civilization, which Richard Dolan has spoken about the possibility of some type of breakaway civilization, which I find fascinating, right? And it would explain why they look so much like us, at least in shape, build, body type, this sort of thing. Um, Authors of the article claim that these ancient superhumans may live in volcanoes or deep under the ocean. Moreover, the team claims that the remains of this ancient civilization seem to have been exposed by Albert Einstein's former assistant, Dr. Shirley Wright, who claimed that she and the boss were invited to examine biological entities recovered from supposed UFO in 1947. So I never heard that one. That's new to me, right? So I guess this Shirley Wright, wow, that's interesting. Nearly 50 years later, Wright revealed that the pilots were actually just humans, but in an advanced form. Wright also claimed that this type of superhuman still lives among us, but lurks beneath the surface of the planet, which would explain like their large eyes, the night vision capabilities. They're very like grayish, pale skin. Um, yeah, it's pretty interesting, right? What do you guys think? But in this article, they also claim that there's several subtypes of crypto Earth creatures. For example, these could be highly developed primates or reptiles that uh, manage to survive routine cataclysms that happen to the Earth, right? Either asteroid strikes, floods, whatever. Um, and they store their flying machines under volcanoes, and it kind of makes me wonder if they don't kind of use that type of thing for if they don't use like volcanoes and stuff as like an energy source. There's also been footage of UAP near the sun, and some people kind of speculate, you know, is there beings possibly using the sun as a source of energy? I mean, it makes you wonder, are we dealing with more than one species? I mean, who knows? It gets pretty deep. And the fact that Harvard was actually doing this study and that they're into this is just fascinating, man. Researchers claim habitats of ancient and intelligent creatures. At the same time, reports by naval personnel of unidentified underwater objects moving at incredible speeds have sparked speculation that some of the crypto terrestrial creatures may actually live on the ocean floor. And if you think about it, man, we know more about the surface of the moon and space than we do our ocean, right? Like, there's so much of the ocean that we haven't even explored yet. So this is just fascinating, man. And in their paper, the authors also cite claims that from Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, who was not involved in the new study, but has previously argued that the moon may actually be a crypto Earth base and home to a variety of creatures and their spacecraft. However, the team also claims that the pilots of most UFOs can hide in plain sight and are aliens who have mastered the art of merging with humans. So this is when you start getting into the idea of like hybrids, right? I'm not sure what you guys think of this. I don't know. The fact that Harvard did the study kind of makes me wonder, like, what are they talking about here? What exactly are we talking? And I think we're moving toward like disclosure, you know. And they did supposedly some of these beings look just like us. Now, whether they're just able to change the way that they look, or do they just naturally look like us? How many different species are we talking? How long have they been here? And do they, in my opinion, which I've posed this question to you guys in numerous other episodes, do they control the planet? Are they somehow operating behind the scenes, influencing us in ways that we just don't understand yet? Um, Possibly in a non-physical way. You know, maybe they don't even have to leave their base, whether it's on the moon, under the ground, under the oceans, whatever. Maybe they don't even have to leave there. They can still influence us in ways that we just don't yet understand. Like any form of technology that is like advanced appears like magic, you know, to the person that doesn't understand it until we start to understand that technology. And I think that we're starting to get there with remote viewing and some of the psionics and stuff that we're hearing about from Jake Barber and his team and Stephen Greer and CQ5 and all this stuff, you know, and it's just really a awesome study, in my opinion. And they leave some sources and references here at the bottom. You know, maybe I'll leave these in the link, but you can see them here, researchgate.net, the crypto-terrestrial hypothesis, and then we got like these other ones, anomaly alien, you know, just pretty cool, man. What do you guys think of that? Let me see here. What's this one? Definitely not a quote, Wiz. So here we go. We got anomaly aliens living in our oceans even before the appearance of humans on Earth. The topic of UFO underwater bases is a very large part of ufology. Hundreds of times it has been seen how strange flying objects hit under the water or appeared from the water. And if aliens really have underwater bases on Earth, how long ago were they built, right? And it makes you start thinking about like Atlantis, these legends, right? And is it possible that they're just humans that kind of broke away? You know, at some ancient cataclysm happened, they had to leave the surface, you know, and you see like these tunnels and levels that go deep, deep underground in Turkey and different parts of the world. Legends of beings living in, you know, mountains in ancient India and, you know, Tibet, Mount Shasta, you know, and not only that, but like Pat Price remote viewing alien bases underneath Mount Hayes in Alaska. Things like this. Is it possible? It's likely that UFOs so often follow American warships for a reason. Huge aircraft carriers themselves look formidable and impressive. And if they are also located near an alleged underwater UFO base, then aliens have something to worry about, right? Here's these primitive apes with nukes, you know, patrolling the oceans with nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers. I think that they would be a little nervous, right? Look what we did to Bikini Atoll, the island. I mean, we completely obliterated a whole entire island just with a test, with a nuke test. So they would have reason to be a little bit apprehensive about this, right? Taking into account that UFO sightings by American sailors in most cases were made at those moments when aircraft carriers were on exercises near the coast of the United States, and according to numerous abductees, the UFO submarine bases where they were moved are not somewhere in the far part of the ocean, but they're not far from the coast of the United States. So I guess they're claiming that these things are near us, right? It's wild, man. Of course, there's information about the existence of probable UFO submarine bases in many places on our planet. For some reason, there are especially many of them near the U.S. coast. This may simply be a feature of the statistics because there are more American UFO researchers and ufologists than ufologists from other countries. Um, yeah, but that's changing, right? If we assume UFOs belong to beings that have been on Earth for many thousands or even millions of years, then they were here long before the appearance of people and the ancestors of people. And in this case, the development of mankind as a species took place right before their eyes. And America is the last continent, not counting, of course, Antarctica, inhabited by people. So who knows, man? This could be a thing. I just want to run that by you guys, see what you guys thought of that. So what do you guys think of that? Right? UFOs being piloted by crypto-terrestrials, beings from Earth, just hidden away from us, or able to appear just like us, so that we don't even know that they're here. Could they possibly be influencing world events? I think so. I think there's a case for that, right? Um, Bases on the moon, things of this nature. Um, we've had testimony. If you haven't seen the episode I did on whistleblowers and astronauts from NASA who came out, spoke out about the existence of NHI UFOs, their experiences with such, and also the the man who he was a photographic repair engineer or something. His name is eluding me right now, but I'll put it underneath. He claimed, you know, that he saw images of bases on the backside of the moon. And it was 1965. And he said when he saw it, he thought that he was going to see that on the news, and he never did. And don't you know, like whenever all this disclosure stuff started coming about, New York Times article in 2017, he ended up passing away. He got ran over. Vehicle ran over his bike, right? He passed. And a lot of these whistleblowers seem to fall victim to this type of demise, right? You look at Harvard professor who John Mack, same way. He died the same way. You know, John Murphy, the radio personality from Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, when that crash happened. There was believed to have been a UFO crash in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. John Murphy was a radio broadcaster. He was going to do this documentary about the whole thing, about the crash retrieval, about it being a UFO and all that. He was visited by men in suits. Some say men in black. Uh, Apparently, he went into like a deep depression, and a couple years later, he was hit by a car. And this is just a repeated thing, right? It's either they unalive themselves or they're hit by a car, something to this nature, always. And I was just watching like on Polarity, there was a guy, I think Max Spears or something. I'm not sure, but anyway, he was like a supposed whistleblower for the secret space program, and he was saying some pretty crazy stuff. Boom, he ended up passing away in like 2019, 2020. All these whistleblowers or people that know or people that are researching this and have a lot of influence, they all seem to pass away at the most opportune time where it affects disclosure, it affects our knowledge about the phenomenon. And, Amy Eskridge, the anti-gravitic, she made breakthroughs in anti-gravity. She was a genius, went to Alabama, Huntsville. She had worked with NASA, she had worked with the University of Alabama. Um, just a really remarkable human being. And they said she unalived herself on her front porch. We got her friend, actually a gentleman from the UK. He was involved with MI6. He tried to figure out what happened to her. Was unable to do that. and he kind of has suspicions that maybe it was a private entity, maybe corporation or foreign government that um, they were doing a lot of harassment, espionage things to her. And the fact that she was said to have unalived herself after making numerous statements that she was not suicidal, she was not accident prone or anything like that. So for that to have happened, it just kind of, here we go again, right? This same pattern with this subject. And it's funny because you got these people who just kind of like poo poo the whole subject and they think this is all just, a bunch of bullshit. You see a lot of skeptics on X and Twitter and stuff. And you kind of wonder who's paying these people, right? Like it seems like these people, like their whole X account is just built around debunking, discrediting anything that has to do with UFOs, UAPs, or any theories about such, right? And it makes you wonder, like, so I can see why us, right? We research this subject, we look into it, we want to know what it is, right? We're curious. This is a fascination for us. It's also a form of entertainment. It draws you in. It makes you research it. You want to know, right? And you know, I don't know. I just don't understand why somebody would be on the opposite end of the spectrum. And I could see, okay, you don't want to believe it. That's fine, but I can't understand why you would make your whole X accounts geared towards just debunk, just straight up being a debunker, a skeptic. That's your whole purpose in life, right? Like what? I don't understand that. So it kind of makes me want to question who's paying, right? Because obviously, I mean, it can't be that fun just to be the guy that shits on the party, right? I don't know, but tomorrow I'll be back in the studio. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. I'm glad you guys tuned in. I really am. You're watching UAP Truth 33. I'm John. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe. Share it to a friend. Share it to two friends. I'll be back tomorrow. Peace.